Oh, hello. I'm Bible class Betty. Thank you for joining me. I'm so glad you're here for this lesson. We're going to be talking about Joshua chapter 7 and 8. Well, in our last lesson, the walls of Jericho came tumbling down. Oh, but this week, trouble is brewing in the camp. Oh, but together we can uncover the hidden sin that halted Israel's progress and the powerful comeback that followed. From Achan's mistake to Joshua's victory in Ai. Oh, this lesson is packed with drama, redemption, and real life faith lessons for everyone. So let's get started. Well, the first place we always start is at the vocabulary because after all, sometimes the Bible uses words either we don't know or that mean something different to us now than they did to the people at that time. Well, our first word is the word altar. Altar. Why, that's a place of sacrifice or worship. An altar could be as simple as a bronze table where burnt offerings were always made on the altar. Our next word is ambush. You may know this one if you have a brother. Ambush would be a trap in which a hidden person waits to attack with surprise. Our next word will be the Ark of the Covenant, which is also called the Ark of the Testimony, and it's called the Ark of the Lord. The Ark of the Covenant was a most sacred object of Israel's worship. It was the box or chest that was made out of acacia wood and overlaid with gold. On the top of it was two cherubim or angels. It was called the mercy seat. Oh, and it could only be carried by slipping two poles through the rings on each of the four corners. God gave very special instructions on how to handle his ark. Next, we have the word clan. Why, clan is just another word for a group of people like, well, your family, your ancestors, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa. Why, a clan is your family. Cloak. Let's see. You may know the word. This word is cloak. A cloak is a long, loose outer garment. Easy. Oh, the word consecrate. That's a special Bible word, and it would be that to make or declare sacred or set apart, but not set apart for any reason, set apart for the service of God. Covenant. A covenant is a pact or agreement of loyalty between two people. The most famous covenant in the Bible is God's covenant with Israel on Mount Sinai during the Exodus. God promised to protect and provide for the people of Israel if the people of Israel kept his law. Covet. Oh, that's not a good word. Covet is to crave something that belongs to someone else. Why, it's to envy someone else's belongings or possessions. The 10th commandment tells us not to covet. Descent. Descent. Oh, that's easy. That's going downward. She descended the stairs. It's a downward slope. You got that. Devoted things. Well, that would be items that were set aside for a special purpose. We were going to devote things to God. We certainly wouldn't want to touch them. We were going to set them apart for special purpose. Your mom and dad's wedding rings might have been set apart for this special occasion of when they got married. They were devoted for a very special reason. Our next word is dismay. Now remember, dismay could be a sudden disappointment or worry. Oh no, this man spilt his coffee. Oh, he's in dismay. He's disappointed. He's worried that his papers are going to get messy. He's in dismay. Our next word is the word inhabitants. Inhabitants is just who occupies a particular place regularly. It might be for a short period of time or a long period of time. Who lives there? It could be in a house or it could be in a region or an area. How about javelin? You may know this one. It meant the same thing in the Bible. It was a light spear thrown as a weapon. It might have been a weapon of war used in hunting. Muster. This isn't a condiment for your burger. This is muster. And what it means is an act of assembling the military troops for action. Why, that policeman is using his bullhorn to muster the military troops for whatever action they need to serve. Plunder. Plunder would be to rob or to take by force as a raid, to loot or to steal things that are valuable. This robber looks like he's up to no good. He's plundering someone else's money. Pursue. Pursue, you know that. It's to follow in order to catch up with or to seize. Oh, I'm glad to see that policeman is pursuing that thief that plundered someone else's money. Seize. Why, it would be to take possession by force. Like he's grabbing up all that money. Oh, he's seizing it. He's taking possession. He's using force. Sojourn. Why, that would be to stay somewhere as a temporary resident. It could be like this little girl is traveling. She's a sojourn to another area. I wonder where she's going. Transgress. I don't hear that a lot anymore. Transgress is an older word for sin. It's wrongdoing, it's lawlessness. Why, to transgress is a violation of God's law. Valor. Oh, we have seen this before too. Valor is a strength of mind or spirit. It enables person to face danger. The military man was a man of great valor. Oh, excellent work on these vocabulary words. That will make understanding the text so much easier when we read it. Now, we're going to be looking at Joshua. Remember, in our last lesson, chapters 5 and 6, we saw how God rewarded the faithful obedience of the Israelites with a magnificent victory over the city of Jericho. In this lesson, we'll see the devastating consequences of disobedience. The Israelites did not follow God's instructions, and they suffered an embarrassing defeat. And much like Moses, we will see Joshua begging for mercy for the people of Israel. Before we go, let's make sure that we can remember those chapter rhymes and what's happened so far. Chapter 1. Be strong and courageous, your wandering is done. Israel prepares their provisions in Joshua 1. Spies are sent out in Joshua 2. a promise to Rahab for her rescue. The Jordan dried up, just like the Red Sea. The priests carry the ark in Joshua 3. 12 stones collected from Jordan's floor. A memorial was erected in chapter 4. Oh, at Gilgal, the men were circumcised with flint knives, and the commander of the Lord's army in Joshua 5. At trumpet sound, Israel marched with high kicks around the city of Jericho in Joshua 6. Oh, great work. Now let's look forward to chapter 7, which takes place when Israel's conquest of the promised land. Remember, it had begun in about 1450 BC, which places the events in chapter 7 about, 14 BC. We're just continuing on where we left in chapter 6. The events in Joshua chapter 7 take place between Israel's destruction of Jericho and their victory over the city of Ai. Now, where are we? Well, look at my map. Do you see that red circle? That shows you where Ai is. And if you look down just a little bit, right here is Jericho. Remember, that was the first city we took. Right there is Gilgal, where Israelite camped. And right here, why, that's Ai. That's where we're headed. It centers near the Beth Aven, just east of Bethel. And we're not very far at all from Jericho, where we were in our last chapter. Who are we going to meet? Why, of course, chapter 7 still has Joshua, Moses' assistant, who led the people through the wilderness. Well, after Moses' death, God selected Joshua to lead the people into Canaan. Next, we're going to meet a man named Achan. He's from the tribe of Judah. He's from the family of the Zerahites and the household of Zabdi. Achan will disobey God and cause 3 dozen of his fellow Israelites to die in battle. Oh, that doesn't sound good at all. Well, we better get started. Open your Bibles to Joshua chapter 7. Israel defeated at Ai. But the people of Israel broke faith in regard to the devoted things. For Achan, the son of Camri, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah of the tribe of Judah, stole some of the devoted things. And the anger of the Lord burned against the people of Israel. The instructions from Joshua had been very clear. The plunder from Jericho was to be devoted to God. It was not for personal profit. But one man, Achan, got sticky fingers and took what had been devoted to God. In essence, he swiped or stole a few articles from the defeated city. Achan stole away the purity and holiness of the entire nation. Achan's sin, as small as it may seem, is something that, if went unpunished, could affect the entire nation of Israel. He wasn't supposed to. I love that it was only one man that disobeyed out of all of those people, but even one, that shouldn't have happened. So Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is near Beth Aven, east of Bethel, and said to them, "Go up and spy out the land." And the men went up and spied out the land of Ai, but they returned to Joshua and said to him, Do not have all the people go up, but let about 2 or 3,000 men go up to attack Ai. Don't make the whole people toil up here, for they are few. Do you see what they're saying? Joshua had sent these men to spy out the land, and the spies reported back to him that it wouldn't take the whole Israelite army to defeat Ai. Only a few thousand men were necessary. Do you notice what's missing? Do you read up there where they ask God what to do? No, it won't go well. Verse 4. So about 3,000 men went up from the people of Israel, and they fled, they ran away from the men of Ai. And the men of Ai killed about 36 of the men, and they chased them before the gate as far as Shebarim, and struck them down the descent. And the hearts of the people melted, that's the hearts of Israel, and became like water. Oh, little did those 3,000 men know that they were marching up to overthrow Ai. That moments later they would be dropping their weapons and running in fear. Remember, they don't know what Achan did. That's what happens when you don't check with God. It doesn't go well. Verse 6. Then Joshua tore his clothes and fell to the earth, why his face before the ark of the Lord until evening. And he and the elders of Israel, why they put dust on their heads. And Joshua said, Alas, O Lord God, why have you brought this people over the Jordan at all? To give us into the hands of the Amorites? To destroy us? Would that we had been content to dwell beyond the Jordan. O Lord, what can I say? When Israel has turned their backs before their enemies, why they ran away scared. For the Canaanites and all of the inhabitants of the land will hear of it and surround us. Why, they'll cut off our name from the earth. They're going to kill us all. And what will you do for your great name? Oh, poor Joshua. He didn't understand what had happened. Why did they lose? The first thing he did was question God. Then he expressed why his sadness. Understand that Joshua believed with all his heart that God was on their side, and he was sure that the children of Israel would never lose. Joshua tore his clothes and tossed dust on his head. Why, the ruined clothing indicated that his grief was unchanging. Poor Joshua. Verse 10, the sin of Achan. Okay, I see a lot of words in red. That means God speaking to us now. The Lord said to Joshua, Get up. Why have you fallen on your face? Israel has sinned, and they have transgressed my covenant that I commanded them. They have taken some of the devoted things. They have stolen and lied and put them among their own belongings. Oh, therefore the people of Israel cannot stand before their enemies. They turn their backs before their enemies because they have become devoted for destruction. I will be with you no more unless you destroy the devoted things from among you. God's first word were, Get up, there's work to do. God didn't want to see the people of Israel fail to take the promised land, But he didn't want the sin that of a few to infiltrate the entire camp. Maybe Achan thought he was saving just a couple of things for himself. Oh, but what he actually did was he had broken faith with, stolen from, lied to, and schemed against God. God told Joshua he would not be with them if Joshua didn't destroy those devoted things. Verse 13, get up, consecrate the people and say, consecrate yourselves for tomorrow, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, there are devoted things in your midst. Oh, Israel, you cannot stand before your enemy until you take away the devoted things from among you. In the morning, therefore, you shall be brought near by your tribes, and the tribe that the Lord takes by lot shall come near by clans, and the clan that the Lord takes shall come near by households, and the household that the Lord takes shall be burned shall come near man by man, and he who has taken the devoted things shall be burned with fire. He and all that he has, because he has transgressed, sinned, the covenant of the Lord, and because he has done an outrageous thing in Israel. Oh, the first instructions God gave was to consecrate or to clean themselves. Why? To show themselves devoted to God. Next, they were to rid themselves of sin in their camp. Why, we are not told how, but the hand of God would point out the guilty party. Remember, those devoted things were devoted to God. Israel was not to keep anything from Jericho. Oh, and the man who sinned, who brought this sin into the camp with all of God's other devoted servants, would be burned. He was not going to influence anyone else in Israel to sin. They were going to learn a lesson quickly. Oh dear. So Joshua rose early in the morning and brought Israel near, tribe by tribe. And the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the clans of Judah, and the clan of the Zerites was taken. And then he brought the clan of the Zerites, man by man. And Zabdi was taken. And he brought near his household, man by man. And Achan, the son of Carmi, son of Zabdi, son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was taken. Then Joshua said to Achan, my son, give glory to the God of Israel and give praise to him. And tell me now what you have done. Do not hide it from me. So Achan answered Joshua, truly, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and this is what I did. When I saw the spoil of a beautiful cloak from Shinar and 200 shekels of silver, mandabar gold weighing 50 shekels, I coveted them. I wanted them for myself. And I took them. And see, they are hidden in the earth Dug up. Inside my tent with the silver underneath? So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent. And behold, it was in his tent with the silver underneath. And they took them out of the tent and brought them to Joshua and to all the people of Israel. Can you imagine? Everybody in Israel is watching and knows what Achan did. And they laid them down before the Lord. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver and cloak and the bar of gold and his sons and his daughters and his oxen and his donkeys and his sheep and his tent, all that he had, and brought them up to the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, "Why did you bring trouble on us? Now the Lord brings trouble on you today." And all Israel stoned him with stones. They burned them with fire and stoned them with stones. And they raised over them a great heap of stones that remains to this day. This is a hard lesson. God knows what we don't know. This may have been an ongoing sin of coveting for Achan. Achan could have been a man of influence who had persuaded his family to join in on this caper. Joshua repeated the godly message of what you sow, you will reap. Achan sowed trouble for the people of Israel. Remember, God had given very specific instructions on what to do, and all of Israel said, "We will do everything you command." After the death of Achan and his family, Israel erected a pile of stones over the remains. This could serve as a memorial to remind Israel of the defeat at Ai, or maybe to discourage sinful behavior. The Lord then turned from his burning anger. Therefore, to this day, the name of that place is called the Valley of Achor. Oh, I see a little C after that and down there. It says Achor means trouble. See, there's your C. Okay. Achan was put to death in the Valley of Achor, or better known, the Valley of Trouble. Well, that's the end of that sad chapter 7. Are you ready for our rhyme? Achan stole items dedicated to heaven. Israel defeated by Ai in Joshua 7. Good job. Okay, chapter 8. Of course, we still have Joshua, and it's going to center around the city of Ai because we're not done yet. It's described as being between Beth Haven, east of Bethel. At the end of Joshua 8, the Israelite camp is going to move north to Ebal and on to Mount Gerizim. Now, who's in here? Of course, it's Joshua, Moses' assistant, who's now the leader of the Israelites. Read along with me. See our blue words, that's people. Our green words are places. And the words in red are God's words. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not fear, and do not be dismayed," scared, frightened. "Take all the fighting men with you and arise. Go up to Ai. See, I have given it into your hand, the king of Ai." They're going to win this time. Oh, and his people, his city, and his land. "And you shall do to Ai and its king just as you did to Jericho and its king. Only its spoils, the livestock you shall take as plunder for yourselves. Lay an ambush against the city from behind." After these heartbreaking events in chapter 7, God began chapter 8 by encouraging Joshua. Do not fear. I'm going to give you the land of Ai, just like I gave you Jericho. Only this time, the Israelites can keep the plunder for themselves. Just think, if Achan hadn't been so greedy and more patient, he could have had all the stuff that he wanted. So Joshua and all the fighting men arose to go up to Ai. Joshua chose 30,000 mighty men of valor and sent them out by night. And he commanded them, this is Joshua talking, behold, you shall lie in ambush against the city, behind it. Do not go very far from the city, but all of you remain ready. And I and all these people who are with me will approach the city. And when they come out against us, just as before, we will flee before them, run away. And they will come after us, until we have drawn them all away from the city, for they will say, they are fleeing from us, just as before. So we will flee before them, and then you shall rise up from the ambush and seize the city, for the Lord your God will give it into your hands. And as soon as you have taken the city, set the city on fire. You shall do according to the word of the Lord. See, I have commanded you. So Joshua sent them out, and they went to the place of ambush, and they lay between Bethel and Ai, to the west of Ai. But Joshua spent the night among the people. Joshua arose early in the morning and mustered the people and went up, he and the elders of Israel, before the people of Ai. And all the fighting men who were with them went up and drew near before the city and encamped on the north side of Ai, with a ravine between them and Ai. He, Joshua, took with him about 5,000 men and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai, to the west of the city. So that they stationed their forces. The main encampment was to the north of the city, and its rear guard west of the city. But Joshua spent the night in the valley. So Joshua's chosen 30,000 of his best soldiers, and he sent them off at night to set an ambush behind the city of Ai. The following day, he led the rest of the company to the camp in front of the city to the north. Another 5,000 took cover to the west. Joshua instructed the 30,000 to take over the city as soon as he had the main force started to run away from the battle. And as they did before, as soon as the ambush took place at the city, they were to set the city on fire. The smaller parties took up their positions, and Joshua, with the main body, marched into the valley before Ai. Are you wondering why set the city on fire? Well, one, it would alert Joshua that the city had been taken, and it was time to turn around and fight. It would also completely demoralize the enemy when they saw their homes, cities, and families being destroyed. Israel's enemies would panic when they realized that they couldn't return fast enough to their city for safety. Verse 14. As soon as the king of Ai saw this, he and his people, the men of the city, hurried and went out early to the appointed place toward the Arabah to meet Israel in battle. But he didn't know that there was an ambush set against this from behind the city. And Joshua and all Israel pretended to be beaten before them as they fled in the direction of the wilderness. So all the people who were in the city were called together to pursue them. And they pursued Joshua, and they were drawn away from the city. Not a man, not one, was left in Ai or Bethel who didn't go after Israel. They left the city open and pursued Israel. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Stretch out the javelin that is in your hand toward Ai, for I will give it into your hand." So Joshua stretched out the javelin that was in his hand toward the city, and the men in the ambush rose quickly out of their place. And as soon as he had stretched out his hand, they ran and entered the city, and they captured it and set it on fire. So when the men of Ai looked back, behold, there was smoke, and the city went up to heaven, and they had no power to flee away, or that the people who fled to the wilderness turned back against the pursuers. And when Joshua and Israel saw that the ambush had captured the city and that the smoke went up, then they turned back and struck down the men of Ai, and the others came out from the city against them. So they were in the midst, the middle of Israel. They're surrounded. Some on this side, some on that side, and Israel struck them down until there was none left that survived or escaped. But the king of Ai they took alive, and they brought him near Joshua. And when Israel had finished killing all of the inhabitants of Ai in the open wilderness where they had pursued them, and all of them to the very last one had fallen by the edge of the sword, all Israel returned to Ai and struck it down with the edge of the sword. And all who fell that day, both men and women, were 12,000. All the people of Ai. But Joshua did not draw back his hand, which he stretched out his javelin, until the devoted things and the inhabitants of Ai were destroyed. Only the livestock and the spoil of the city Israel took as their plunder, according to the word of the Lord that he commanded Joshua. So Joshua burned Ai and made it forever a heap of ruins to this day. And he hanged the king of Ai on a tree until evening. And at sunset, Joshua commanded, and they took the body down from the tree and threw it at the entrance of the gate of the city, and raised over it a great heap of stones, which stand there until this day. So when the king of Ai saw Joshua and his army marching across the valley, he hurried out to meet them with his troops. Not realizing it was a setup, he pursued or chased them, the Israelites, towards the desert with his entire force. Not a man, not one, was left in Ai or Bethel. At the right moment, God instructed Joshua to hold his sword up toward Ai. And as he did, the ambushers rose up and they captured the city and set it on fire. And as the men of Ai looked back and saw the smoke rising to heaven, Joshua's men, remember they were running this way, turned around, and chased the rest of the men from Ai. Now for the first time, the men of Ai realized that they were trapped. Israel chased down every last one of them and destroyed the citizens still left in the city. 12,000 died. Joshua continued to hold up his sword in the air until the battle was over. Israel carried off livestock and plunder. The city was left in a permanent heap of ruins, and the king, he was hanged on a tree until evening. And at sunset, Joshua instructed the people to take the king's body and whoof, throw it at the entrance of the city. They raised a heap of stones over his remains. Oh, wasn't that exciting? Now, what is the first thing that Joshua is going to do after he has this magnificent victory? The next chapter heading says Joshua renews the covenant. Remember that covenant is a special promise with God. At that time, Joshua built an altar to the Lord, the God of Israel, on Mount Ebal, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded the people of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of uncut stones upon which no man has wielded an iron tool. And they offered on it burnt offerings to the Lord. And he sacrificed peace offerings. And there, in the presence of the people of Israel, he wrote on the stones a copy of the law of Moses, which he had written. To celebrate this victory, Joshua built an altar to the Lord. This was not like an altar in Ai. It was on Mount Ebal, a bit of a trek for the people. They built an altar to God's specification, as it was written in the book of the law of Moses, and they offered sacrifices to God in the presence of the people. Joshua copied the law onto the stones. Verse 33, and all Israel, sojourners as well as native born, with their elders and officers and their judges, stood on opposite sides of the ark before the Levitical priest who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, half of them in front of Mount Gerizim and half of them in front of Mount Ebal, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded at first, to bless the people of Israel. And afterward he, Joshua, read all the words of the law, the blessings and the curse, according to all that is written in the book of the law. There was not a word that of all that Moses commanded that Joshua did not read to the assembly of Israel. And the women and the little ones and the sojourners who lived among them. Oh, picture this: 6 tribes in front of Mount Ebal and the other 6 in front of Mount Gerizim, reciting to each other the words of the law. The sound of their voices would ring from peak to peak. Why, Joshua read every word Moses had commanded. He didn't leave out one single word. Everyone heard the words Joshua read, from the greatest to the least, including the children and the travelers who resided in the nation of Israel. Oh, what a wonderful moment! For chapter 8, what we learned was Joshua had forbidden the Israelites to take any of Jericho's plunder. It is devoted to God like the first fruit offering. But this guy named Achan secretly took plunder valued at the amount of a worker's lifelong income. It wasn't just, ooh, here's lunch money. He took what someone would make in their entire life. Meanwhile, Joshua sends his people out to take on another city, Ai, but he doesn't consult God first. And not only did they lose, but 36 men died in the process. Only then does Joshua consult God. Through Raham and Achan, we are starting to see that being a part of God's people, the Israelites, have nothing to do with their race or their gene. It has everything to do with their heart. Rahab had a heart for God. Well, Achan was part of God's people. Oh, but he did not obey God. It has nothing to do with your race or genes, but everything to do with your heart. God's family is made up of people with new hearts, not the same DNA. Now let's see if we've got a rhyme for the events in chapter 8. Oh, an ambush at Ai as Israel must wait. The city is destroyed in Joshua 8. Good job. Okay, now I have a few cartoons for you. Remember, this is someone else's work who did a little bit of humor about these books that make me giggle and help me to remember what happened. Our first is, oh, he's got these clothing that he rips and tears. Tired of losing clothing to morning related ripping and renting? Try the all new Easy Remove morning gear. I don't think that caught on. Oh, do you see that's supposed to be Achan at that computer? Achan's early years, pirating software. He's stealing software instead of gold and silver coins. Oh, for my Disney fans, are you Achan? Yup, yup, yup. Wait a minute. These are the soldiers from Ai. Remember when the ambush took place? They're right outside the city limits. Wait, I thought you locked the city gate. Do you see their city's on fire? And look at that city limit sign. It says Ai, city limits 12,000. Well, that was before Israel got there. When they were done, it was 0. I can't wait to see every one of you again next time. I promise Bible Class Betty's got some more exciting stories for you. Bye-bye.